Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, rail fans. No matter what time of day it is, wherever you're watching, welcome back to another video here on the channel, here at Clear Signal Productions. It's about 6:30 in the morning here, or 6:20 in the morning here. It's Tuesday, March 9th. And if you watched yesterday's video from our J8th on the Housatonic Railroad, you'll know that we're headed over to CSX's Riverline right now. I set my phone GPS to take us over to Saugerties, New York, or Saugerties, not really sure how you say it. But we should be there in about 15 more minutes. And our first train of the day should be the hotshot Q001, the number one train on the system. And I took a look at the webcam down in New Jersey, and I know that they've got a YN2 AC44 leading, so that'll be a nice treat for the first train of the day. After that, not really sure what's around. I haven't been able to look at the webcam since about 4:30 this morning.
At the lights, use the left lane to turn onto NY-199.
But there weren't any northbounds besides Q001 from the past 5 hours that I could see. So not really sure what we've got behind him or after him. We probably got a couple southbounds that will show up. But that is the plan for now. Unfortunately, we're behind a slow cement truck, but you know, can't always win. But yeah, we should be there in about 15 minutes, and the camera's drifting here. So I will see you guys by the tracks. Alright, so it's coming up on 6:40 in the morning now, and as you can see on the screen here, the sun is just starting to come up, and we are next to the tracks now. I'm 95% certain that we are ahead of the Q001, even though considering they do make pretty much full track speed up the whole Riverline and of course over the entire CSX system. So we should have them coming through here in about 5 to 10 more minutes. Once again, we're set up here in Saugerties, New York at milepost 96 on the CSX River Sub, and we'll probably set up on the other side of the tracks here because the shot on this side isn't fantastic. Plus, the opposite side of the tracks is where, of course, we have the sun coming up. So we will see what we can do with the Q001. Alright, so it's a little bit past 7 in the morning now, and as you can see, we've got a lot of sunshine right now, and I pulled up the Selkirk Yard area rail feed on my phone, on this little app on my phone called the 520 Radio. You can find a whole bunch of railroad feeds all across the United States, and I pulled up the Selkirk area feed, and I heard the B765 talking to the yard, and the yard said, "You're okay to go out, talk with the dispatcher." And so that means we've got the Hudson grain job coming down. Of course, that's across the river. So I guess we'll start up the car, head across the river, and see where we can get him. The leader is the CSX 8801, which is nice because normally they utilize the AC44s on this job. But today they've got an SD40, of course, leading, which is nice. To get to the spot I'd like to catch him at is about 45 minutes, and we most likely will make it there, because normally once they come off CSX and onto Amtrak will hold them up at the signal for quite a while. So I'm not too worried about making it there, so we'll start up the car and head across the river. Alright, so it is now 8:23 in the morning, and we are here now on the east shore of the Hudson River. And we've been here for about 15 minutes, and 15 minutes ago we found out what's going to be going on with the B765 this morning. As soon as I pulled into this spot here about 15 minutes ago, the B765 called up the Amtrak Hudson Line dispatcher and told them they were ready to go when they can handle them. And the Amtrak Hudson Line dispatcher responded by, "We're single track between 124 and 114, which are the 10 miles of track that B765 uses. And he said, since we're single tracked, I'm going to hold you for one south and one north. And in short, that means that B765 is going to be sitting at the signal at 125 for about another hour or so. Now, the other unfortunate part about that is that we're probably just going to have to stay over here on the east side of the Hudson and wait it out, because the bridges that cross the Hudson River are fairly spread out, and if we were to head back over to CSX in the meantime, by the time we got over there, we'd probably just have to come right back, because it would be about half an hour one way. So, you know, that'd be an hour in total, and then B765 would be rolling. So we're just going to stick over here and wait it out. In about another minute, Amtrak 236 should be departing Albany. That's the southbound. He's due into Albany, or he's due into Hudson rather, at 8:40 in the morning, and then Amtrak 63 is due into Hudson at 9:20. So Amtrak 63 should be passing that signal where B765 is sitting about 10 minutes after he departs Hudson, and then B765 should get the light. So in short, we're going to wait out for about another hour. We'll catch B765, and then we'll head back over to the West Shore. And it sounds like things are going to be getting busy over there, because I just heard on my radio scanner, CSX track maintainer was asking for some time, and the dispatcher said, call me after 3 southbounds and 4 northbounds. So it sounds like it's going to be getting pretty busy in a little bit here on the other side of the river. So hopefully by the time we get back over there, there will still be some action to be had. But in the meantime here, we'll catch some 80-mile-an-hour Amtrak trains. Alright everybody, so it is exactly 10:15 in the morning, and we are now back over on the west side of the Hudson River, on the west shore, on the CSX River Sub once again. It ended up happening that B765 did end up getting a signal behind Amtrak 236 that we just saw, and when he hit the detector read out 6 axles, and that told me that he was just a light engine, and so I figured I wouldn't waste my time shooting a light engine and then waiting for them to switch cars and then head up through the streets of Hudson, when I knew that there were 7 trains over here on this side of the river that would all be coming through in a relatively quick amount of time. And we've already got 3 of them about to be right here. Stopped at the south end of this control point, you can't quite see them, but stopped down there is the Q404. And then stopped on the same track to the right of us is the Q433. They're both stopped on the same track, going opposite directions, both looking at red signals here at control point 124. My best guess as to what's happening is the dispatcher is running the hotshot intermodals Q003 and Q007 around the Q404. Once those 2 hotshot intermodals get by, he told Q433 that they'll head south and then cross over here at CP 124. So then they'll no longer be on the same track as Q404. Once Q433 clears, my best guess is that Q404 will proceed north, and then I do also know that we've got Q409 behind the Q433. They just left Selkirk. And then the Q212 is down at CP 111, but they're probably just going to head south once 007 gets by them, if they haven't already. And then there also is a Q410 out there. So there's quite a bit of trains, all between here, Selkirk, and the Saugerties area. So it should be pretty interesting here in a few minutes. The first northbound we should have is Q003. They should be coming by here within the next 10 minutes or so. And again, it's 10:15 in the morning, and we're at CP 124 on the CSX River Sub. Alright everybody, so it is a little bit past 12:30 now, and in the past couple hours we've gotten quite a bit of action. We had all those trains going through CP 124 there up in New Baltimore, and then we got the 409 down in West Coxsackie, and then we got 433 again crossing the Roundout Creek. And then we're going to get 409 again right here, because what ended up happening was the 433 discovered that they had a hot box about 100 cars deep. Once they went through a work zone, and the foreman in charge reported that he had a hot box about 100 cars deep. So they came to a stop within the control point at CP 90, which is a few miles to our north. And they had the Q567 help them out, which is the train you just heard call the signal. We are not going to catch 567 at this point, and we also did not catch the Q212 that I mentioned earlier, the Q404, or the Q422. But there should still be a good amount of trains left out there to see today, so not a terrible loss that we missed those 4 trains. So once again, this is the 409 again coming next, and then we should have the 410 in the siding to the south of us, and we'll catch him here too. Okay, so it's a little bit past 1:30 now in the afternoon, and we're now back up in Catskill, and we just saw the C711 Kingston local crossing the Catskill Trestle. If it seemed like it was kind of a rushed shot, that's because it was. I got out of my car and I heard him blowing his horn at the crossing just on the other side of the bridge, and I jumped out of my car, ran down to that footbridge, and basically just plop my tripod and hope for the best. I was hoping to have made it to the other side of that footbridge, or the other end of it rather, to have a better shot of the long hood, but obviously didn't make it to the other end of the footbridge. Now, as for the Q410 I mentioned earlier, I still haven't heard a peep out of him on the radio. I'm still assuming that he's to the south of us, but I'm not sure where, unless they somehow got him ahead of Q567, but even then I would have heard something out of him, so not quite sure where they're at. As for southbounds coming, there should be a 158 at some point also, and just like the Q410, I'm really surprised I haven't heard just like the Q410, I'm really surprised I haven't heard anything out of the radio from a 158 either. But anyway, that was just the C711 on the radio with their really horrible radio. But I'm assuming they've got work to do in a few places, and the camera went all wonky here when I pulled into the gas station. But we're going to figure out something to do with the C711. They probably got work to do at a few industries, so we'll see that. And then I'm thinking later on we'll head over to the Selkirk branch on the west side of Selkirk, and that way we'll get some more action. But for now I'm going to fill up some gas, go to the bathroom finally, and get some lunch.
Half car. 20. 10. And far enough. Alright, we're clear.
Alright everyone, so it is 2 minutes to 3 in the afternoon here, and we're over in Athens, New York. And of course those last few shots we just saw were of the C711, the Kingston local, switching that industry there in Athens. And I was about to pack up and start heading north towards Selkirk, and then the Selkirk branch, like I mentioned earlier, once C711 took off. And then I look on Facebook and I see that there's a K653 coming north out of New Jersey. They probably hit the New Jersey-New York state line, about half hour ago, 20 minutes ago. So that completely changed my plan, because what they've got for power is a Canadian National SD70M-2 leading, and I think it's a -9 trailing. So rather than head up towards Selkirk and the Selkirk branch, we're going to head south along the river line and see if we can... Whoops. We're going to see if we can intercept this K653 somewhere. My guess is that we'll make it to somewhere around Milton, which is milepost 68. We're up at milepost 114, and my guess is that K653 is somewhere around milepost 25. So if you want to do all that math in your head, average track speed over here on the river line is 40 miles an hour, give or take. So like I said, I'm guessing excuse me, I'm guessing we'll make it to somewhere around Milton, which is milepost 68. From there, we'll definitely chase the thing, because this is really the only chase-worthy power we've gotten all day, other than those AC-44s that Q433 had earlier. But we will see what we can do with this newfound train of interest, the K653. Alright everybody, it is now 4:40 in the evening, and we are a few miles south of Milton like I predicted. We're actually about 15 miles south of Milton in Cornwall on Hudson at CP52. For whatever reason, K653 is stopped down there on the single track, and they're looking at a red signal northbound from where it diverges into the siding and the main line. Now, as to why they aren't stopped on the siding is what I'm trying to figure out. Something did just set off the detector 9 miles to the north at 61, and that might have something to do with why CP52 is showing a red northbound, but I'm not entirely sure. Luckily, these guys did hold for that Q433 and the Q409 that we saw earlier today, and so that bought us a little bit of time. They sat in a siding down at CP26 for almost an hour, so that bought us about 45 minutes to drive even further south, and therefore get a couple more shots of him. But of course it would help if they are moving. And now if we look across the river, we see a Metro North train with one of the two McGuinness P32s way over there. That's the Metro North Hudson line over there, and actually right over there is the famous Breakneck Tunnel. For whatever reason, I still haven't gotten over there. I've been on this side of the river, across from it plenty of times, but still haven't gotten to the tunnel itself, but maybe next time. So something just called the signal, so I guess there's another train around, so I guess we'll keep an ear to the radio and see what's going on. Not entirely sure, but